He brought a U-Haul to my senior apartment. I changed the locks yesterday. My son barged in without knocking and announced his entire family. Wife, kids, mother-in-law would be moving into my senior apartment, not asking, telling. He dangled his old house key like it still worked. What he didn't know, I'd changed the locks the day before. And my fortress had locks he forgot. If real-life boundary wins like this help. You stand your ground, hit subscribe now, the story.
Mom, we're moving in.
Ethan didn't knock. He never did anymore. I stood frozen in my kitchen doorway, coffee pot trembling in my hand.
My wife, the kids, and Martha's mother. We've already decided. You've got 2 bedrooms just sitting here.
20 winters I'd waited on that waiting list for this apartment. 20 years of cramped basements and broken elevators. Before I finally got my name called. This place was mine. Earned. Sacred. Ethan, you can't just.
Can't what?
He leaned against my doorframe like he owned it.
We're family. Family helps each other. The kids will take your sewing room. Olivia gets the guest room, and we'll use a sofa bed, just for now.
Just for now. Those 3 words had cost me $20,000 once before. My knuckles whitened around the coffee pot handle. Okay, I whispered. Saturday, then. His smirk said he'd won. Saturday, then, but not the way he imagined. Ethan pulled out his phone, showing me my own floor plan marked with his handwriting.
The kids take your sewing room. Olivia gets the guest room. Martha and I sleep on the sofa bed. Just for now, of course.
For now. Those words had teeth.
Just for now, Mom, can you watch the kids?
4 years later, still their unpaid babysitter.
Just for now, can you lend me money?
20,000 gone, never repaid, my retirement swallowed by his failed business venture. Ethan, senior housing has occupancy rules. Guests can only stay 14 days without management approval.
You're overthinking it.
He waved dismissively.
We're family, not guests. Besides, you have all this space going to waste.
My sewing room. The place where I'd finally started creating again. After decades of putting everyone else first. He'd already erased it on his diagram. Reduced it to, kids' room, in blue marker. The coffee pot burned hot against my palms. His floor plan forgot 1 room mine. 5 years ago, Ethan sat at my kitchen table with that same earnest expression.
Mom, I need $20,000 for a business deal. 6 months, I promise, with interest.
I withdrew everything, my entire retirement savings scraped together from double shifts at the hospital, from cleaning strangers' toilets until my hands cracked and bled. 3 months later, his business collapsed. He declared bankruptcy. I spent the next 2 years eating ramen, skipping medications, choosing between heat and electricity. The collection calls came daily. My credit score died with his dream.
I'm sorry, Mom,
he'd said, barely meeting my eyes.
These things happen.
No repayment. No interest. Just empty words. Now he stood in my hard-won apartment, erasing my existence to make room for his convenience, expecting the same forgiveness he'd always received. Ethan laughed at my silence.
So you agree, right?
I know exactly what sorry costs. This is my home. My voice came out steadier than I expected. I waited 20 years for this apartment. Ethan's laugh was sharp.
Mom, you're renting subsidized housing. Let's not pretend you're some property mogul.
He stepped closer, voice dropping to that patronizing tone I'd grown to hate.
Besides, at your age, you shouldn't be living alone. What if you fall? What if something happens? We'd actually be helping you. You should be grateful.
At your age. Like I was already half in the grave, taking up space that belonged to the living. Something inside me shifted, not breaking, but realigning. The perpetually sacrificial mother stepped aside, and someone harder took her place. I smoothed my expression into calm. The storm raged behind my eyes, but my face became a mask of compliance. "Okay," I whispered. "Saturday then." Ethan's triumphant smirk said he'd crushed my resistance. He turned to leave, already texting Martha the good news. He heard surrender. I meant setup. Sharon arrived at 9 sharp with pastries she knew I wouldn't eat. One look at my face told her everything. Over coffee I didn't touch, I laid out Ethan's invasion plan. The marked-up floor plan. The "just for now" lie. The way he'd laughed when I mentioned my age. Sharon's grip tightened on her mug.
"Rose, listen carefully.
Once they enter, they never leave.
You understand? They'll dig in like ticks. You'll become the live-in nanny, the maid, the ATM machine. And when you finally break down and complain, you'll be the ungrateful mother who abandoned her family.
I know.
Then you need to stop this before Saturday."
I will. Something in my voice made her pause. She studied my face, searching for the woman she thought she knew, the one who always bent, always forgave, always sacrificed.
"Rose."
Sharon leaned forward slowly.
"What exactly are you planning?"
I pulled the manila folder from my bag and laid it between us. She asked for my plan. I brought receipts. I opened the folder carefully. Bank statements, housing documents, pages of printed regulations highlighted in yellow. After the business deal disaster, I started saving again. My finger traced the bottom line. $15 here, $20 there. I have $43,000 Ethan knows nothing about. Sharon's eyes widened.
"Rose."
"And I've been studying." I pulled out the senior housing lease agreement, tabs marking specific sections. "Look. Section 4.2 guest stays are limited to 14 consecutive days without prior written approval from management. Section 6.1 unauthorized occupants constitute a material lease violation and may result in lease termination." Sharon read silently, her expression shifting from surprise to something like pride. "Ethan can't just move his family in. This isn't a regular apartment, it's senior housing with strict regulations. If he tries to force his way in, I document it, report it to management, and he's trespassing on government-subsidized property."
Why didn't you tell him this yesterday?
Because I wanted to see how entitled he'd become. My jaw tightened. He exceeded expectations. Sharon sat back, smiling slowly. "He thinks I'm alone. I'm bringing policy." That afternoon, my walking group circled the park pond. 6 women in our 60s and 70s, each carrying stories in the lines of our faces. I told them about Ethan. The entitled invasion. The casualness of his takeover. Margaret nodded grimly.
My daughter moved in, temporarily, 3 years ago. Now I'm babysitting her kids while she vacations with her boyfriend. When I asked when she's leaving, she cried and called me selfish. Mine changed my locks.
Linda added quietly.
Said I was too confused to manage my own keys. I'm 72 and sharper than she'll ever be.
The solidarity felt like armor forming around my chest. These women had stood at the same cliff edge, choosing between surrender and survival. Margaret gripped my arm, her eyes fierce.
Rose, if you give in once, you'll lose everything. Your home, your peace, your dignity. Everything.
My fist clenched inside my jacket pocket. I'd spent 7 decades learning to be kind. Now I was learning something harder. Mercy without boundaries breeds trespass. After the group dispersed, I sat alone on a bench, watching the pond's still surface reflect clouds. I closed my eyes and saw Saturday's reality, the door bursting open at all hours. Ethan's kids 7 and 9 screaming through my hallways, sticky hands on my walls. Olivia commandeering my kitchen, criticizing how I seasoned, how I cleaned, how I lived. Martha treating me like the help, dropping the kids off for just a few hours that stretched into days. My sewing room buried under toys and tantrums. My mornings stolen, no more quiet coffee watching the sunrise paint the courtyard gold. My evenings obliterated by demands for dinner, complaints about my cooking, arguments over whose turn it was to do dishes in my kitchen. I opened my eyes. An elderly couple walked hand in hand. A woman my age sat reading, undisturbed. Free. I'd fought too hard for this sanctuary to surrender it now. My hands steadied on my lap. And peace requires a locked door. But someone was already testing my doorknob. Thursday morning, Martha appeared at my door with a pink bakery box and a smile that never reached her eyes.
Rose, I brought your favorites, glazed and chocolate.
She swept past me into my living room, settling onto my couch like she'd already moved in.
I wanted to chat about the move. I know Ethan can be abrupt sometimes.
I closed the door slowly, watching her performance unfold.
We're so grateful you're opening your home to us.
Her voice dripped artificial sweetness.
Finding affordable housing has been impossible. And the kids are so excited to spend time with Grandma. Don't worry about a thing, we'll take care of everything. You won't have to lift a finger. We'll take care of everything.
Translation: we'll take over everything. I'd seen this act before. Martha had perfected the art of manipulation wrapped in courtesy, demands disguised as gratitude. She expected me to smile, to nod, to feel honored by the invasion. I stayed by the door, arms crossed. Did Ethan ask me if I wanted this? Her carefully constructed expression flickered.
What do you mean? He said you agreed. He said you were happy to help family.
Martha, let me be very clear. I stepped closer. Ethan didn't ask. He told me. He walked into my home without knocking and announced you were moving in. He showed me a floor plan where he'd already decided which of my rooms you'd be taking. The color drained from her face.
But, he said you offered. He said you insisted.
He lied. The word hung between us like a blade. Her mouth opened and closed. Her eyes darted around my apartment, measuring, calculating, perhaps seeing for the first time that this wasn't a gift but a hostile takeover.
Rose, I didn't know. Ethan said you were lonely, that you wanted.
If someone walked into your home and announced their family was moving in, would you be happy? Her hands trembled as she reached for the untouched donuts. She leaves with donuts and doubt. Ethan stormed in that evening without knocking. His face was crimson with rage.
What the hell did you say to Martha? She came home crying, saying I lied to her.
I stood my ground in my own living room. You did lie. You told her I agreed. You told her I was happy about this.
Because you should be. Do you know how hard things are for us? How expensive everything is. And you're sitting here in this huge apartment alone, being selfish.
Selfish. I repeated the word slowly. I'm selfish for keeping the home I waited 20 years for?
You're ungrateful. After everything I've done as your son.
After everything you've done? My voice rose for the first time. Ethan, for 45 years I sacrificed. I worked myself to the bone to give you a good life. I raised you alone. I put you through college cleaning toilets. I gave you my retirement savings.
So you're throwing that in my face now?
No, I stepped closer. This is about me finally choosing myself. His face contorted with fury. He pointed a shaking finger at me.
You'll regret this, Mom. You'll regret this.
The door slammed hard enough to rattle my picture frames. I stood frozen, adrenaline coursing through my veins. For a moment, doubt crept in. That old voice whispered bad mothers don't say no. But then I looked around. At the curtains I'd sewn. At the life I'd built, piece by precious piece. I pulled out my phone with steady hands. It started. He's furious.
Sharon, stand strong. I'll be there. Sharon, you're doing the right thing.
I walked to the window and looked out into the darkness. Somewhere out there, Ethan was probably calling me every name he could think of. Let him. Tomorrow, he'll bring muscle. I'll bring rules. If he comes back, I won't be alone. Friday afternoon, Ethan returned. This time he pounded on the locked door.
Mom, open up. We need to talk.
I opened it but blocked the entrance with my body. His eyes were bloodshot.
How can you abandon your family when we need you?
Abandon? The word almost made me laugh. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm refusing to give up my home.
Family helps each other. Family makes sacrifices.
Family also respects boundaries. My voice stayed quiet, controlled. Family asks instead of demands. Family doesn't lie or manipulate. I paused. When did you last visit without needing something? Not asking for money. Not dumping the kids on me. When? He had no answer. His jaw worked silently, rage and shame battling across his face. Finally, he stepped back, fists clenching at his sides.
Fine,
he said coldly.
You'll see on Saturday. We're coming whether you like it or not.
He stormed toward the elevator. He promises Saturday. Good, I need witnesses. Saturday morning, 7 a.m. The U-Haul's engine rumbled into the parking lot below. I stood at my window watching the circus unfold. The same truck. The same two movers, looking less enthusiastic this time. Martha herding the kids. Olivia being helped from the car, already complaining about the early hour. Ethan directed everything with the confidence of someone who believed he'd already won. I took my time. Fixed my hair. Made coffee. Let them unload half the truck before I walked to my door. By the time I opened it, they'd already invaded the hallway. Boxes stacked against walls. Kids arguing over bedrooms. Martha directing movers with, just put it anywhere for now. I stepped into the hallway. The activity stopped. Ethan turned, box in arms, that familiar smirk on his face.
Morning, Mom. We brought.
You're not moving in. My voice cut through the chaos. Clear. Calm. Absolute. The box slipped in Ethan's hands. Martha froze. The kids went silent. Doors began opening. Mrs. Chen from 3B. The Johnsons. Even old Mr. Park emerged. One mover stepped forward.
Ma'am, is this your apartment?
Yes.
And you're refusing entry?
Yes. He turned to Ethan.
Then we can't unload, sir. Company policy. We need resident permission.
She's my mother. She's confused, she's senile. I'm 73 and perfectly sound of mind.
I pulled out my phone. Should I call building management? Or the police? Because you're attempting to move into my apartment without consent. Ethan's face went purple. He took a step toward me, fists clenched. He steps forward, so do my neighbors. The hallway felt smaller with everyone watching. Mrs. Zhang's arms crossed in her doorway. Mr. Johnson holding up his phone, recording. The Ramirez family from 3E, their teenage son translating whispers for his grandmother.
Mom, stop this.
Ethan dropped his box with a crash.
We already paid for the truck. We gave notice at our apartment.
Then you should have asked me first. Martha rushed forward, tears forming.
Rose, please, think about the children. They're so excited to live with Grandma.
Don't use your children as emotional blackmail.
Where's my room?
Olivia's weak voice came from her wheelchair.
Ethan promised me the one with the window.
There is no room for you here, Olivia. There never was. One of the movers cleared his throat.
Ma'am, whose name is on the lease?
Mine.
Then we can't unload without your written permission. Company liability.
Ethan's face went crimson.
She's senile. She doesn't know what she's saying.
I'm standing right here, Ethan. My voice was ice. And I'm completely sound of mind. So bring a lawyer. Bring documents proving you have any legal right to this apartment. Until then, you're trespassing. Ethan fumbled for his keyring, my old house key still hanging there, the one I'd given him years ago for emergencies. He stepped toward my door. That key doesn't work anymore, I said quietly. I changed the locks last week. His face twisted with rage. He moved toward me, fist clenched.
Rose.
Sharon appeared from the stairwell, moving quickly to stand beside me. Ethan whirled on her.
You poisoned her mind against her own family.
Sharon didn't flinch.
Your mother doesn't need me to think for her. She's an intelligent woman making her own decisions. This is her home, not your fallback plan when your life gets expensive.
The movers were already wheeling their dolly back to the elevator. Martha had retreated with the kids. Even Olivia sensed the defeat. Ethan stood alone, surrounded by his abandoned boxes and broken assumptions. He turned without a word and walked away. But as the elevator doors closed, I saw him pocket something from the nearest box. He leaves but not empty-handed. Sunday afternoon brought a softer knock. John Rivera, Ethan's godfather, stood at my door with a briefcase and 30 years of history between us.
Rose, may I come in? Ethan asked me to mediate.
I let them in. Ethan, Martha, and John. No kids this time. No Olivia. Strategic. We sat at my small dining table. John opened his notepad professionally.
Let's start with concerns. Ethan?
I feel abandoned.
Ethan interrupted.
My mother is choosing herself over family. Over her grandchildren. We're struggling, and she has space she's not using.
John wrote, then turned to me.
Rose?
I feel disrespected. My son didn't ask for help, he demanded I surrender my home. He lied to his wife about my consent. He tried to force his way in with a moving truck.
But family helps.
Martha started. Respect comes before help, I said firmly. Family asks. Family listens. Family doesn't threaten or manipulate. John cleared his throat.
Ethan, did you discuss this with your mother before making arrangements?
Silence.
Did you get her consent?
More silence.
Then legally and morally, Rose has every right to refuse.
Ethan's jaw clenched. He stood abruptly.
There has to be a compromise.
He asks for compromise. I offer manners. He asked for compromise. I heard strategy. After they left, I sat alone in the silence and let myself remember. I was 49 when I put my name on the waiting list, working 3 cleaning jobs, living in a basement apartment where ceiling pipes dripped rust into my coffee pot and mice scratched through walls at night. The housing clerk had pitied me.
The wait could be 20 years.
I'll wait. And I did. Through my 50s, Ethan's college years, scrubbing strangers' toilets to pay his tuition. Through my 60s, my father's death, the business loan betrayal, eating ramen to survive the debt. Through my early 70s, annual letters confirming I was still in queue, still hoping, still dreaming. When the call finally came 2 years ago, I'd been 71. 20 years of waiting. Ms. Rose? We have an apartment for you. I'd cried so hard I couldn't speak. This place wasn't just 4 walls. It was proof I'd survived. Proof I mattered. I pressed my palm against the window glass. I didn't wait 2 decades to be a guest here. Monday morning, I met Sharon at our usual cafe. She searched my face across the table.
How are you holding up?
Better than expected. I pulled out my folder thicker now. I spoke with building management. They confirmed unauthorized occupants violate my lease. I also contacted a tenant rights attorney. Sharon's eyebrows rose.
You've been busy.
Prepared. I spread the documents between us. Copies of every text Ethan sent. Timestamps of his attempts to enter. Emails to management documenting the harassment. Photos of the moving truck, the boxes in the hallway. Mr. Johnson sent me his video neighbors as witnesses.
All this in 3 days?
I've had 73 years of people underestimating me. I tapped the folder. If Ethan tries anything else, I have documentation. Evidence. Legal standing. Sharon reached across and squeezed my hand.
You're stronger than he ever gave you credit for.
I smiled a real smile, one that reached my eyes for the first time in weeks. Paper cuts beat temper. The following week passed in tense silence. No calls. No visits. No apologies. I knew Ethan. Silence didn't mean surrender, it meant strategy. I kept my documentation updated. Added daily notes. Checked my locks twice before bed. Sharon called every evening, her voice a tether to sanity. Thursday afternoon, building management sent an email confirming they'd received my formal complaint about the attempted unauthorized move-in. They were monitoring the situation. I felt the tiniest bit of relief. Then Friday evening, just as the sun dropped below the courtyard, I heard it. Footsteps stop outside my door. My folder was ready. So was he. The footsteps belonged to Ethan. But this time he wasn't alone, he'd brought reinforcements. 2 men I didn't recognize stood behind him, arms crossed like hired muscle.
Mom, we're doing this the easy way or the hard way.
My hand tightened on the doorknob. There is no we. This is my home.
You're being senile and you don't even know it.
His voice echoed down the hallway.
She needs help, she's confused.
I'm 73 years old and perfectly sound of mind, I said clearly, loudly enough for the gathering neighbors to hear. And you're harassing me. One of the men shifted uncomfortably.
Man, you said she agreed to this.
She did. She's just forgotten.
I forgot nothing. I pulled out my phone. Building management is 1 call away. So is the police non-emergency line. Your choice. The men exchanged glances, then stepped back.
We're out, dude. This is family drama, not a moving job.
They headed for the stairs without looking back.
Rose?
Sharon appeared from the elevator, calm and steady. She positioned herself beside me, a wall of solidarity. Ethan's face twisted.
This is your fault, Sharon.
Real love knocks.
Sharon said quietly.
It doesn't break down doors.
For a long moment, Ethan just stared at us. Then something in his expression shifted, the rage smoothing into something calculated, almost serene. He smiled. Finally smiled.
Okay, Mom. You win. For now.
He turned and walked away, hands in his pockets, whistling softly. He smiles, finally, and that scares me. 3 days later, John Rivera returned with formal paperwork and the gravity of someone who'd run out of patience.
Rose. Ethan's asked me to facilitate an official mediation. I'm here as a neutral party.
This time it was just the three of us, me, Ethan, and John. No Martha. No kids. No theatrics. We sat at my dining table. John opened a leather portfolio and clicked his pen with deliberate precision.
Let's establish facts first.
He turned to Ethan.
Did you ask your mother for permission before making moving arrangements?
Ethan's jaw tightened.
Family shouldn't need permission.
Yes or no?
Silence.
Did Rose give you verbal or written consent to move your family into this apartment?
More silence. John wrote something down, then closed his portfolio.
Then legally, she has every right to refuse.
This is a senior housing apartment with strict occupancy regulations.
You can't force entry, even as family.
But she has space.
That she earned.
John's voice carried decades of friendship turning into disappointment.
Ethan, I've known you since you were 8 years old. I've watched you become the man you are. And right now, I don't recognize him.
Ethan stood abruptly, chair scraping hard against my floor.
This conversation is over.
He walked to my door, paused with his hand on the knob, then turned back. His eyes met mine, cold, calculating, burning with something I couldn't name. We'll talk again soon, Mom. The door closed softly behind him. I hear the elevator ding like a timer. He smiled like a man who'd found another key. 2 months passed. I settled into a rhythm I'd dreamed of for decades. Morning coffee by the window, watching the courtyard garden wake up, sewing projects spread across my table without fear of someone moving them, walking group on Tuesdays and Thursdays, book club on Wednesdays, quiet evenings with nothing but the sound of pages turning and my own peaceful breathing. My apartment became what I'd always wanted it to be, a sanctuary, mine. One afternoon, there was a knock. Soft, almost hesitant. I opened the door to find Ethan standing there, alone. No moving truck. No family. Just him, looking smaller somehow, older. Mom, can I come in? I stepped aside. We sat in the living room, silence stretching. Finally, he spoke.
I'm sorry for some of it. I shouldn't have tried to force my way in.
No, you shouldn't have.
But I still don't understand why you couldn't help us.
I looked at him, really looked. My son. The boy I'd raised, sacrificed for, loved beyond measure. And the man who'd learned to see that love as something he could exploit. Ethan, I said softly, you keep saying family helps each other. But bloodline doesn't equal loyalty. Respect does. And you've given me none. He sat quietly, perhaps hearing me for the first time. After he left, no drama, no shouting, just a quiet goodbye. I returned to my window seat. For the first time in years, the silence wasn't lonely. It was mine. And it was enough. The afternoon sun streamed through the glass, painting everything golden. My sewing machine hummed softly in the corner. Fresh flowers I'd bought myself sat on the table. The silence was profound, beautiful, mine. I smiled, holding my warm coffee cup, and whispered to no one but myself. For 73 years I gave everything to everyone else. Now, finally, I give it to myself. The sun continued its gentle journey across my peaceful home. And I was free.